All right, today we're going to dive deep into what is, without a doubt, swimming's most beautiful, most powerful, and, let's be honest, most exhausting stroke, the butterfly. We're going to break it all down, from its totally accidental origins all the way to the insane techniques used by Olympic legends.
So let's just start with a question that I'm willing to bet most swimmers have a pretty strong opinion on. What is the hardest stroke? I mean, if you've ever tried to learn all four, one of them probably jumps out at you immediately.
And yeah, they'd have a pretty good argument. The butterfly has this killer reputation because it uses practically every single muscle in your body, all at the same time. It takes incredible strength, perfect timing, and a rhythm that can leave even the best athletes totally gassed. It's a full-body assault with every single arm pulled.
So, how are we going to tackle this beast of a stroke? Well, we've broken it down into 5 parts. First, we're going to look at its really weird origin story. Then, we'll get into the 2 main engines, that powerful arm pull and the rhythmic dolphin kick. After that, we'll see how breathing and timing pull it all together. And finally, we'll take a look at a true master of the stroke.
Okay, let's kick things off with one of the most surprising things about the butterfly. It was never even supposed to be a stroke. It was basically an accident, a really clever way to bend the rules.
What's so wild is that back in the 1930s, the rules for breaststroke were, let's just say, a little loose. Swimmers quickly figured out that if they recovered their arms over the water instead of under it, they went way faster. So in 1933, this swimmer named Henry Myers does it in a competition, and the officials were completely stumped. He wasn't actually breaking any rules. So for nearly 20 years, you had swimmers doing this butterfly arm with the regular old breaststroke frog kick. It wasn't until 1952 that it finally became its own official stroke, with the dolphin kick we know today, and it hit the Olympics just 4 years later. All right, enough history. Let's get into the nitty-gritty. The first piece of this puzzle is the arm pull. This is where you get a huge amount of that forward drive.
But hold on, before you even think about your arms, your body position is everything. The whole goal is to be as flat and streamlined as possible. You want your hips riding high, right near the surface, with your head in a neutral position, looking mostly down. If your body position is bad, it's basically like trying to swim with an anchor tied to you. You're just creating drag and wasting so much energy. So the pull itself, you can really break it down into 4 key moments. First is the entry, where your hands slice into the water right in line with your shoulders. Next up is the catch. This is where you grab the water by bending your elbow. Then you have the pull, that super powerful move straight back where you keep your elbows high for maximum power. And finally, the recovery, where your arms swing wide and relaxed over the water to do it all over again.
Now, here's a term you'll hear a lot if you get serious about butterfly: early vertical forearm, or EVF. The whole idea is to keep your elbows high when you start to pull. When you do that, you're not just pulling with your hands, you're turning your entire forearm, wrist, and hand into one giant paddle. And that lets you grab and pull a massive amount of water, giving you that explosive speed. Okay, so we've got the arms covered. Now let's talk about the other engine of the butterfly, the dolphin kick. This is where it gets really cool, because the power isn't just coming from your legs. It's a full-body wave that actually starts in your chest and flows all the way down.
The magic rhythm of the butterfly is simple to say, but so hard to master. It's 2 kicks for every single arm cycle. Nailing this timing is what makes the stroke look so smooth and effortless, and getting it wrong is what makes it look like you're drowning.
And you have to understand, these 2 kicks have totally different jobs. That first kick, that's your power kick. It happens right as your hands are finishing the pull, and its main job is to launch your upper body and arms out of the water for the recovery. And the second kick? Its job is just to keep you from hitting the brakes. It happens as your hands re-enter the water, keeping that forward momentum going so you don't stall out.
This is such a great way to think about it. The power isn't coming from just bending your knees. It has to start in your chest, flow through your core, down through your hips, and then snap, it finishes at your feet. It's this fluid rolling motion, not some stiff kick from the knees.
So we've got the pull, we've got the kick. Now we need to add the one thing that connects it all, and, the part that actually keeps you from passing out: breathing.
You probably guessed it, but timing here is absolutely everything. The perfect moment to breathe is just as your hands begin to pull back. You want to lift your head just enough so your chin is barely scraping the surface of the water. If you lift your head too high, and this is a super common mistake, your hips will sink like a stone. Then, as your arms start coming forward for the recovery, your head goes right back down into the water. Find a rhythm, like breathing every other stroke, and stick to it.
Okay, so we've gone over all the parts, the theory, the timing, but what does it actually look like when someone puts all these pieces together perfectly? What does mastery of this stroke look like? Well, to answer that, you really only need to look at one person, the greatest butterfly swimmer ever, Michael Phelps. His technique is just a masterclass in how to be both powerful and efficient at the same time.
And this right here, this is one of the biggest secrets to his dominance. When you watch him swim, notice how incredibly low his head is when he breathes. By keeping his chin just skimming the water, he avoids that big, inefficient up and down motion. And that's huge because it keeps his hips high, which cuts down on drag and saves an incredible amount of energy. This quote perfectly describes the sheer power of his pull. If you see an underwater shot, you can see that perfect high elbow catch we were just talking about, that textbook early vertical forearm. He does it so well, it literally looks like he's doing two powerful freestyle strokes simultaneously.
So let's really zoom in on a couple of other things he does perfectly. As his hands go into the water, he actively presses his chest down. This acts like a seesaw, and it pops his hips right up to the surface, keeping them flat and fast. You'll also notice his upper body stays pretty calm. He isn't making a huge splashy wave. That means all his energy is going forward, not up and down. And finally, look at his hand entry. It's like they're pointing to 11 and 1 on a clock. That is the perfect setup to immediately start a powerful catch, no wasted motion.
But here's the thing that I think is so cool, and honestly, so encouraging. Michael Phelps wasn't born with this perfect form. You can find videos of him from 1996, and his breathing timing is, well, it's a mess. It's just a great reminder that mastery isn't a gift. It's a journey of fixing and tweaking things over and over again.
All right, so let's boil this all down. What do you absolutely need to remember? First, the rhythm is everything. 2 kicks for 1 pull. Second, power starts in your core and gets transferred to the water through that high elbow pull. Third, keep those hips high by breathing low. And finally, when you kick, don't think about your knees. Think like a whip. You know, when you break it down, learning the butterfly is a great reminder that pretty much any complex, impossible skill can be demystified and mastered if you just take it piece by piece. So that kind of leaves us with one last question. What's the impossible thing in your life that you're ready to start breaking down?